What's up, everyone? I'm extremely pumped today because we have a very special guest today, and it's Georgia Tech's basketball coach and 2017 ACC Coach of the Year, Josh Pastner. Coach, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, guys. Really looking forward to it. Always like talking hoops, and we'll get right to it.
Yeah, and also today, filling in for my co-host, Jacob Obam, who's in the middle of his lacrosse playoffs. Good luck to him. I have my good friend, Benny Ehrlich. Benny, thank you for filling in today. Appreciate it. All right, so Coach, let's get right into it. So congratulations on an unbelievable season, 2021 ACC 20 champs. You made the big dance. Unfortunately, you guys came up short, but all around, unbelievable season. So can you tell me what it was like coaching it during a pandemic this year, and how did you bring your team together in such a hard year?
Yeah, no, great questions. Look, we had a great year, won the ACC championship, which was awesome. First time in 28 years here at Georgia Tech, had back-to-back winning ACC seasons, first time in over 30 years, first time in the history, back-to-back double-digit ACC wins, first time to make the NCAA tournament in over a decade, longest ACC home win streak. I mean, I could just go on and just sell all the great accomplishments. Player of the year, Moses Wright, defensive player of the year, and Jose Alvarado. But it was a special team, a special group. It was uncharted territory playing in COVID. And I got to give so much credit to the student athletes, both on the men and women's side, the NCAA, the administrators, the doctors, the trainers, all the medical people, in order for us to be able to have a season and then get a tournament in as well too. So just an amazing, amazing year. Like I said, uncharted territory, but we got through it. It had a tournament, and it was a great tournament all the way through.
For sure. And can you tell us a little bit about your team during the ACC 20 run? What were you telling them? Take us through the moments and everything.
Yeah, well, a couple things. Look, I mean, we have a great group of young men, really good guys, and we love being part of this special run. One of the great things in athletics is you're part of a team, and you have a great bond. Just like this past Saturday, I was able to see a bunch of our guys graduate, and to see how they came in from leaving, from high school to all of a sudden leaving with a Georgia Tech degree. It's just outstanding. And that's what makes coaching such a rewarding profession. What other profession? I'm 43 years of age. Can I act like a 12-year-old by in the locker room after a win, jumping up and down and getting water poured on you and doing dances and everything else? I mean, it's the only profession that I know that you can act like a young kid when you're in your 40s. And anywhere else you did that in any other line of work, they would fire you. But here, that's just part of what makes sports so great. And just a real honor to coach these guys. Loved every second of it. These are fine young men, great student athletes. What a tremendous blessing and just an awesome opportunity to be at Georgia Institute of Technology here in Atlanta, Georgia Tech, not only playing in the ACC and a great basketball, but in one of the finest academic institutions in all of the world.
Okay, so before you were the Georgia Tech coach, you were the coach at the University of Memphis. What led you to take the Georgia Tech job after Memphis?
I was the head coach at Memphis for 7 years. Loved every second of it. We had some of my great friends and people were there in Memphis. My 3 daughters were born in Memphis, so I loved my time at Memphis. But, look, when the Georgia Tech job opened, I says, man, that would be a great job. And it's in Atlanta. It was, you kind of have a chance to rebuild something from the beginning, from the ground on up. You're in the ACC. In the ACC, and you're right, when you're talking about building something, when I took over Memphis, I took over for John Calipari, who's now the head coach at Kentucky. And when I took over for John Calipari, he had the most wins in a 4-year time period ever in the history of the NC2A prior to me taking over. That's why I got the job at Memphis, because nobody wanted to follow him. They're like, I'm not following that guy. He's won too much. I just happen to be the last man standing. And so that was, even though our entire recruiting class left to go to Kentucky, that was sort of a rebuild and trying to rebuild the team. But at the same time, the expectations are you had to sustain it at the highest of high levels. So doing that was a challenge. And then taking over Georgia Tech was a challenge. And I felt we've done well in both of them. And it's something just more of a challenge. I'm a challenge guy. I like the challenge. I like the ability to kind of build things and see how things go. And I love my job. I love what I do. I love what, just being around people. And Georgia Tech was a situation, like I said, you're in Atlanta, the ACC, you got a chance to continue to build something. And it was a really exciting time. I'm very fortunate that I got an opportunity to be the head coach here.
And
after this past season, the opportunity did present itself to go possibly coach at your alma mater. Was there any temptation to maybe look at Arizona, or were you all in on Georgia Tech?
Look, I played on the 1997 national championship team at the University of Arizona. I played for Lute Olson, one of the greatest coaches in the history of any sport. I also was an assistant coach there at Arizona. Some of my best friends are my teammates there at the University of Arizona, are people that I met during my time at school. I met my wife from when I was at the University of Arizona. So I love Tucson. I loved University of Arizona. But the reality of it is I haven't been back in over 14 years in a sense. So as much as I love that place, my focus has been Georgia Tech. Now, look, I think Arizona hired a great coach in Tommy Lloyd. He was the top assistant at Gonzaga, and he's going to do a great job at Arizona. He's a very, very good coach, and obviously he's a terrific recruiter. And so the Arizona job's a great job. But when you're moving, the farther you go, sometimes you fall in love with the current place you're at. I love where I'm at with my family, with the student athletes. I love who I work for. I love everything about Georgia Tech. So one thing about me is I have great affection for the University of Arizona, just like I have great affection for the University of Memphis, and I have great affection for Georgia Tech.
So you mentioned your college coach, who happens to be one of the greatest coaches in any sport, Coach Olson. Would you say he's the coach that you model your coaching philosophy after?
I was very fortunate that I've been able to play and coach under Lute Olson at the University of Arizona, who's in the Basketball Hall of Fame, and also be an assistant under John Calipari, who's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. So I've been under coaches in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Now, look, I can't be John Calipari and I can't be Lute Olson. I have to be Josh Pastner. And I've got to find what I feel is the best in order for me to be the best coach that I can be. And I've got to do it within my own personality and what I believe is the best way. I'm going to take things from Coach Olson, take things from Coach Calipari, and then develop my own philosophy. But I tell you, both coaches are just amazing. I love being around both. Coach Olson literally built the city of Tucson through basketball at the University of Arizona. And without him, I wouldn't be here. Without Coach Calipari, I wouldn't have this opportunity. So I'm forever grateful for both.
Now, what is one thing that you wish you knew before you went into coaching?
One of the things I wish I knew, look, that's a great question. And you can look back. And I think part of the thing as growing as an individual, and you'll understand this. I mean, one of my favorite books is Growing Each Day by Rabbi Twersky. It's living one day at a time. That's really what it's about. It's a great prayer book. Unfortunately, Rabbi Twersky passed away just recently. But that being said, is when you're saying about growing each day, when you sometimes look back on life and say you wish you knew this or that or this, that just means you've grown, you've matured. I mean, you both are going to look back 20 years from now and say, man, I wish I knew what I knew now. I could go back then. That's just all part of life. I've been a head coach now for 12 years. I'm a better coach today than when I first got the job at Memphis. But 12 years later from now, God willingly, I'm still a head coach. I hope I'll be a better coach then than I am today. And I just think that's all part of the maturation. I would try to say, I know this sounds two things. I know this sounds very elementary, but it is. But it's great advice. Number one, don't sweat the small stuff and try to just keep focused on what really just focus on the task at hand. And the second thing, and I think most importantly, one day at a time, trying to start thinking about what's going to happen. You got to plan for the future, got to prepare for the future, but start trying to think about what's going to happen in all the different scenarios of in getting yourself caught up in anxiety and worry and stress, when a lot of times it just works itself out when you just take it one day at a time. And I think if I could go back to my own self, I probably would have caught myself from a lot of anxiety, worry, stress, if I just focus one day at a time.
For sure.
Yeah, Coach, you've had a lot of amazing moments as a player and coach. What would you say your favorite memory is in your entire basketball career?
Yeah, I've had a lot of great memories. We've won a lot of games. I mean, there's been quite a few amazing memories. And I can't pick one out that just because there's a lot that stand out. I mean, obviously you could say the 1997 national championship, but I look back at the Kansas game, a couple games before then in the Sweet 16. I mean, to win that game, was amazing. But look, it's like this year winning the ACC championship, or I can remember at Memphis when we beat UTEP in the championship of the CUSA finals to go to the NCAA tournament. I mean, there's not one particular moment. There's been a lot. And that's a direct result of the great players and student athletes that I've been so fortunate to be around, and the coaches that have been with me and the people that have worked with me. And in coaching, what's interesting, you sometimes can remember the wins, but the losses really stick with you. And but that's just part of it. But, I don't really reflect just everything in the past, because when the season's done, you've now got to focus on the next year. I think when time later down in life, when you can kind of when you're no longer, I hope for me, I really hope I'm coaching. I'm a head coach as I'm 70, 75, 80, 85. Literally, they'll have to wheel me off the floor. That's how long I want to be a head coach. That's how much I love this job. I say all that to say that's when all that happens, and I say, okay, it's time to, go to the beach and kick your feet up. Then I'll look back and maybe reminisce on some of the different games. But I don't take one win for granted. People get on me when I say I want to hug a win. I really could hug a win. I love wins, and I could hug them. But you're not physically hugging, but in that moment, you don't take them for granted. Winning is hard. Winning one game is hard. That's why I don't take winning for granted.
And especially at the level you're at in the ACC, you're facing guys like Duke, Kentucky. I mean, the win in the ACC, it's unbelievable. And I mean, you're a big winner in the ACC. So props to you for that, Coach.
I appreciate you saying that. Think about this year, guys. We beat Duke.
Yep.
We beat North Carolina. We beat Syracuse. And we beat Kentucky. Wow. That's 4 Hall of Fame coaches, 4 Hall of Fame programs. Goodness gracious. Unbelievable. All 4 programs have won over 1,000 games in their program history. Amazing with the capital A. Awesome with the capital A. Think about that. Go Georgia Tech.
I'm sure the celebrations after those games were unbelievable.
The celebration was like a bar mitzvah, guys. That's what it was like. It was like a bar mitzvah.
Were you being lifted on the chair?
Instead of them putting me on the chair, we were dancing, throwing water. all the good things that go with the bar mitzvah.
Yeah. Do you think as you keep getting these wins over the major schools, you think you're gonna have one day Georgia Tech will be viewed the way Duke, North Carolina, and Virginia are viewed right now?
I tell you what, that would be an ultimate goal if we can get into that category. Those are the elites of the elites that you've mentioned, and that's what we want to do. That's our vision. It won't happen overnight. Winning is hard, as I mentioned, and I try to coach I want to win every possession. Every single possession I would like to win. And in order to be what you just mentioned, you got to win every possession.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, and your energy is unbelievable, and you're an unbelievable coach and everything that you did this season. But before we let you go, we have one final question. Me and Ben, as fellow Jews, can you tell us what Judaism has done for you in coaching and how you stay connected with Judaism?
Yeah, great question. You guys have done a great job in this interview, by the way. You both are rising stars. I hope to get your autographs one day because I know you're going to be big time in the profession. Just don't forget us over here. You know what I mean? But regarding, with Judaism, look, I'm a very proud Jew. But I will tell you, being on campus is one of the best ways I feel to be able to stay connected with the Jewish community, but with Jewish students, it's the Hillel. And I try to be as involved and active in the Hillels on campus, for college campuses, as much as I can. When I was at the University of Arizona, I loved being around at the Hillel on campus. At the University of Memphis, the same thing. And here in Atlanta, I've been fortunate in all three spots: in Tucson, Arizona, U of A, and in Memphis, and then here in Atlanta, there's been great, large, Jewish communities, and both within the school and also within the community on the outside. So been a great honor to be part of that.
That's awesome to hear. And thank you again, Coach, for coming on. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward to following your careers in the future.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.